Hello, friends. So, how are you guys? Today, I'm going to talk about migrating to Sweden. So, if you're planning to migrating to Sweden for a short term or long term, you will find this video useful for you. And I'll tell you in this video from the first thing to do and then other factors you should consider. And then let's start the video. Okay, so the first thing you should do in Sweden to get the personal number. What is personal number? So personal number is something like a SSN, Social Security number in US, and but this has more, I would say, integration with all the facilities in Sweden, whether it's an insurance, whether it's a bank, whether it's a tax filing, whether it's getting the school, getting an apartment, and going to medical if emergency or anything insurance, I would say. So the personal number is the, I would say, the backbone for everything. So how to get the personal number? To obtain the personal number, you should visit the nearest tax office with the required documents, and then once you applied, you will get it in a week time or more than that, maybe on your registered address. And then also, once you get the personal number, you can apply for the personal ID, which is like your personal ID card. And then for again to get that, you should visit nearest tax office, and then they'll take your photographs, and then you will get the personal ID maybe in 2 weeks of time or so. So these are the two steps you should do first once you get into Sweden and you want to avail the other facilities like housing and the other facility, as I said earlier, the medical and the schooling. So let's talk one by one. So housing. So the next step you should do or you want to do to get an apartment to live in Sweden. And today we're going to talk about in Stockholm. So as in Stockholm, the housing is not that easy. It maybe is in other country, but in Sweden, as the demand and supply in couple of years has been not equal. So I would say you should plan very well, and then. To get the apartment, you can apply through the government websites, and that is the quite lengthy process. It might take some months to get the apartment. However, if you want to go through private dealers and private companies, then you need to apply for an apartment. You have to book an appointment, and then you have to visit the apartment, and then they might take your kind of interview or some profile. They will ask you to submit some profile about you, your family, and then based on that, they will shortlist, and then they will allow you for that apartment, or they will ask you for to sign the lease maybe for 6 months or 1 year, depend on your owner. And then once you get the apartment, then the next thing, if you have kids, you might be looking for schooling. So schooling is two kind of schooling, I would say, in Sweden. The first kind is your local schools. In the local schools, mostly the language in which the syllabus would be is Swedish, which is the official language for Sweden. And then they also have an option of bilingual, in which they will also teach you the English as well. But the primary medium will be the Swedish, and they will give you the admission in your nearby area and nearby schools. So you don't need to worry much. But if you are looking for the international schools, then in that case you need to apply well in advance, because there are not much international schools. You can even apply even before coming to Sweden. So without even the personal number, you can apply for international schools. That's okay. And once you get the admission, then again the same procedure. You have to pay for the fees, and then you can start. The terms start here in the late August and till June. However, in the local schools, which is the government schools, which is totally free here. So that's the awesome part in Sweden. And then once you are done with the schooling, then you may have questions about the medical. Again, that's the best thing about Sweden. All the medical is free. You don't need to buy an insurance. in Sweden. Once you have the personal number, you can have the all the medical expenses almost free with the very minimum amount. I would say nothing. So all the medical emergency are treated very well. However, if you want to visit the doctor for the some sickness or some fever, some cold or not emergency, then you have to call and book an appointment, and then you need to visit and then show your personal ID card, and then you are good. So this is also again depend case to case. If people don't get the personal number because of any reason, because if they are not going to stay for longer period, less than a year, you there might some chances that you will not be assigned a personal number. Then they'll provide you some tax coordination number, but you will not be able to avail some benefits like maybe like insurance or the medical or some other benefits as well. So you need to plan accordingly your duration and the other insurance. And once you get the schooling, once you get the medical, another thing is you should take a home insurance. I would say home insurance is very very cheap here, and then that will cover your plumbing and then some theft or something, some other unforeseen circumstances. So you should get a home insurance which is very very cheap here, and then that covers pretty much everything. However, I would say Sweden is one of the most safe country. There is very less incident like theft or some other incidents, but still I would recommend to go for a home insurance. And then other thing we should talk about is the weather. So weather plays an important role in day-to-day life in Sweden, and the winters are almost 6 months, I would say, and Sweden is a cold country. And when I say cold country, that means almost whole year you will find it not more than 20 or 25-degree temperature. There are some exceptions like in 2018, but yes, in these winters, it starts somewhere around in October and it goes, I would say, till March or April. And then you will find some snowfall as well, and even heavy snowfall from November to March, I would say. But the country is well built and the infrastructure is built accordingly, so you will not feel that issues with snowfall. And the public transport is very well set up here accordingly. And then when I say the public transport, the most of the people use the public transport, even who have the cars. In the weekdays, it is pretty much a rush here, like any other big city, like in Stockholm. So the public transport is almost everywhere. Wherever you live, within 10-15 minutes of walk, you will find a bus stop or the train station, tram station, ferry station. And with the one common card like SL card, monthly pass, you can have the weekly, monthly, yearly pass, and the charges are not that much, I would say. The kind of services they are giving you, it's not zone wise. So if you have the SL card, you can visit almost whole Stockholm. So that is all about the public transport here. That is very nice here, I would say. And then the next thing we should talk about is travel. So what is it is about nearby Sweden, what is there to visit? Because the first thing comes into the mind when somebody coming to Sweden is Europe. So you definitely once you have the work permit or other visa for Sweden, you can visit the Schengen countries, that moreover 26 or more or less countries. So the nearby countries is like Norway and Denmark, Finland, Latvia, Estonia, Poland, which is like 1 hour flight from here. You can go by cruise, you can go by car to Denmark and Norway. So these are the neighboring country for Sweden. And then if you want to visit the other countries like Germany, Switzerland, then you have a 2 hour flight, direct flight, or not more than 2-3 hours flight in whole Europe. So this is all about the traveling in Sweden. Now the other point is the language. The language in Sweden is Swedish, which is the official language for Sweden. And if you don't know Swedish, the Sweden government provide you the classes, even the free classes for 3 month courses or so. You can even more or less, depends on your hours, how much hours you can dedicate for the learning the Swedish language. And if you have time, I would recommend to learn Swedish. But if you do not have time, you are busy, then it's okay. Because in Sweden, pretty much 70%, I would say, as an average, they speak English. Even if you go to public places, offices, or most of the places, you will find people speaking English as a second language. So this is totally okay. So it's up to you if you want to go for learning Swedish, which is recommended. You should. If not, then it's also fine. So the next thing, what we should talk, what is the expenses, or what are the monthly expenses here, so that you can plan your travel or your employment here. I would say the apartment somewhere range around from 10,000 Swedish kroner to 15,000, based on the size, based on your requirement. And then I would say 10-12,000, also including grocery or monthly pass, and depends on your living standard. But I would say 22 to 25,000 per month is a okay or average amount to live in Sweden. That's around nothing more than that 2,500 euro, because €1 is on an average is like 10 Swedish kroner. So euro is also accepted, but majorly it is cash free country, cashless country, I would say. Pretty much everywhere you can use your card, and I've seen people not carrying cash at all. And even if you have one card, one SL card, which is your travel pass, and one debit or credit card, you are good. So this is all about the Sweden, migrating to Sweden. And if you have some specific questions about anything, you can just ask your question in the comments section, and then I would be happy to help. So this is all about the today's video. Tell me, give me your feedback, because this is my first video, and just I was free today, and I thought that how to help people in any terms. So if you find this useful, let me know. If any questions, as I said earlier, let me know. I would be happy to help. So bye for now, guys. Bye bye.